Hello everybody, this is Michael Newman again from Illinois Prep Harrier and Stat with our Monday morning finish line for the week ending of September 8th. We're going to look at we're not going to look at every meet that happened in Illinois, so I'm sorry about that. We'll try to keep it a little bit shorter this week. Last week we went about 20 minutes and that was a little bit too long. We're going to talk about 4 meets today. We'll talk about the Lee Hallberg Invitational in Springfield. We'll talk about the Wakanda Invitational and the 2 big meets that we're going to concentrate most of our time on. The First to the Finish Invitational, formerly the Peoria Woodruff Invitational at Detweiler Park, and also the Lake Park Invitational in Roselle, actually Medina, on the East Campus course. That's where I was at. So we'll start there. First race of the day, well, the first varsity race of the day was the girls race. Great showdown anticipated between Kaylee Flanagan of Lake Park and Madeline Perez of Glenbard West. And they went out. They went out quick. If you're familiar with the course, around the first turn, Flanagan already had burst out to like about a 5-meter lead. And she was just, it was one of those things, I'm going fast. Anybody want to come with me? Come on along for the ride. Only person that stayed close early on was Madeline Perez. At the mile, 5:09 at the mile. That's pretty fast. Then she had a 4-second lead on Perez. From there, the lead extended. The next half mile extended to 7 seconds. In the next mile, it extended another 5 seconds. So by about a 2 1/4, Flanagan had opened up a 12-second lead. She went by the 2 mile in 10:46. And that was it. And Flanagan just kept going. Her coach, Lauren May, kept telling her to keep going, keep going. You know where to push it. This is our course. Defend their course. And Flanagan ended up winning in 16:27. Course record. Perez was 16:48. Glenbard West second runner Lisa Lusak was third, 16 seconds behind Madeline. So 16:27 on that course. People were asking me, well, compare that to Detweiler. Well, let's put it this way. When Chris Derrick ran 13:45 at their conference meet his senior year, he came back at the state meet 3 weeks later and ran 13:52. So I'll leave that to you right now. I think Flanagan had a lot more in her tank, and we're at the beginning of September also. Team battle. A lot of the team battle was affected by ACT testing. There were a lot of schools. St. Charles East kept some of their top runners out just as a thing where they had raced a little too much and they wanted to give them, Denise Heffron wanted to give her girls some rest. Brooke Wolf of Prospect did not run because of ACT testing, and it went on from there. Team-wise, Lake Park edged number 1 Glenbard West 61-69. Now Glenbard West's number 3 runner, which is, where is it? Caitlin Wright, has a little tendonitis in her hip, and Coach Paul Haas said, I'm not going to take a chance today. It's early in the year. So she did not run. Nevertheless, Lake Park 61-69. Glenbard West had a 20-second split on 3-5 last week. This week it was 22 seconds without their number 3 runner. Lake Park, 51-second split on 2-5. That's the area that you have to concentrate on this team. So who knows if, I don't know who I'm going to end up rating number 1 because it is that close. There are 7 or 8 schools, like I said last week, that could be number 1. So whenever they go up against each other, if one beats another team, it's no surprise because that's how deep Illinois is. Another thing, boys meet. The boys race at Lake Park. They went out lightning fast. They got the cue from the girls. They went out fast. Garrett Lee, Tyler Young, and Joseph Suarez from Plainfield East took the lead about a mile into the race, about 4:40, 4:41 at the mile, blazing first mile. Suarez took the pace out, tried to make a move, but he said that the two runners, Lee and Young, were working with each other and they were counteracting the moves. So it's kind of tough. A 2-on-1 thing like that, two guys racing, using different strategies on one guy, that can be pretty tough on the guy. And it paid the price in Suarez because he slowed down the last mile. Belvedere North, 1, 2, 3 in this race. Garrett Lee, 14:41. Tyler Young, 14:49. And then Paxton Menard ran a smart race, started out towards the back. Well, not in the back. He was 10th at about the mile, but he moved up during the race, and at the end he ended up 3rd, 14:59. So nice first three for them. Problem with Belvedere North, and Belvedere North won the meet, 61-74 over Deerfield, and we'll get to Deerfield in a second. The thing with Belvedere North is their gap is too big between 3 and 4. They had a 127 split on 5 runners, way too big. Belvedere North will be a dangerous team if they have a split around 60 seconds, and they may get that next week at Peoria at the Richard Spring Invite in Peoria with their freshman Eric Young running in the varsity. He won the Frost Soft race at Lake Park in 9:51. Deerfield, who is ranked number 6th in the state, ran a great race. They went out aggressively. They wanted to stay with Belvedere North as long as they could. They only were able to stay with them for the first mile, but it paid off. They ran a 35-second split on 5. Alex Gold was the first runner in 8th place, or 9th place, I believe, and that was enough to hold off Lake Park. Lake Park had a nice pack early on, and it kind of split up at around 2 miles. Deerfield was able to hold them off 74-76. So great team competition there. Will we see Deerfield move up? Maybe. Let's get to Peoria. The first to the finish invite. The 3A girls race. Now we're going back to the girls again. Naperville North looked great. They had 7 runners in the first 32. They had 5 runners in the first 23, and they're extremely deep. They had 3 or 4 other runners in the open race that could have stepped in into the varsity. That's how deep they are. And they had 1 or 2 girls that stayed at Naperville for ACT testing. This is a good team. They were ranked 5th, and they will move up 59 points. Now New Trier was 2nd again. Here again, it's not an upset. Okay, there's all these teams are good teams. Girls teams are good teams. New Trier, 87 points. Courtney Ackerman, we'll do the individual race. Courtney Ackerman stayed with Jill Hardis for the first mile and then exploded that 2nd mile in the back triangle. 16:45 on this course, and Hardis was 17:15. Mimi Smith of New Trier was 3rd and 17:17. What I've heard from a ton of people, they ran a college race the night before, and it was muddy conditions then, and so the course was not in good shape, and yet Courtney ran 16:45. Fantastic. Who else do we have? Nah. So, I mean, there were other teams. Wheaton Warrenville South was there. They were 7th in the race. Hinsdale Central ran a good race. They were 4th. Fremd, I think, was 3rd, but there was a big drop-off between the first 2 schools there. So, it's going to be interesting. Let's put it that way. Boys race. What can I say about Jack Keeneland? This was like a ghost revisited race for Jack. Last year he was at the 2 mile with Garrett Sweat, Jeremy Atchison, and Leland Later. They went by a 9:36. Jack in that race ran the last mile in 5:12. And finished in 14:48, and he was not the same after that race. He ran at Palatine, got out kicked at Palatine by Todd Ford. Ford has a great kick, but Keelan had a good sizable lead, and Ford ran him down. And then, of course, we all know that Jack didn't make state and blah, blah, blah. And he had a great track season. He rebounded from that. This was the race to see if he was going to come back, see what he could do. They were even at the mile, the first mile. Joey Santillo, Micah Beller from Niles North, Harry Winter from Fremd was up there as well. Mark Dubrick of DeKalb went by in about 4:50. They went into the triangle. Keeneland took off. He came out of the triangle with a 50 to 60 meter lead, so he really accelerated in that back part. What I was told by his coach, Ed Ernst, and what I've been told by other people that were at the meet, he was smiling at 2 miles. He went by with a 75-meter lead, smiling. He said, "I couldn't help it, Coach. I just felt like smiling." Maybe that monkey is off his back now. He looks great. He ran 14:35 on a sloppy course, windy conditions. And you know what? I called it saying that he was going to run under 14:20. So I blew that call, but he still ran great. So 14:35 for him is fantastic. Team-wise, it was a battle between two powerhouses. Number 3, Lyons Township had a good race last week at their own invite, going up against Neuqua Valley, who's number 5. Neuqua was out without their number 1 runner, Alec Meka. Sorry, Alec. He was taking his ACT test. It didn't matter to Neuqua Valley. They had a 23-second split. They had 5 runners in before Lyons Township's 4th. Now, Lyons Township, they had a 25-second split. So, what can you say about that? Neuqua won the meet. 112 points to Lyons Township, 135. Highland Park, Highland Park, 192 for 3rd. And St. Ignatius, they're going to be an interesting team. They're going to move into the ratings when they come out on Tuesday, mainly because they got 5th. They ran in the 200s, 220s, something like that. But they will move into the ratings. They have a young team. I can't remember his last name. Santillo is a freshman. He was their 2nd man. So, you know, Jack Keeneland, barring some disaster, is going to make it downstate. But he may have a team joining him. So, 2A girls race. This is a close race. Yorkville's ranked number 2. There's 3 teams in 2A that are tough. Crystal Lake Central, Canelan, who are at Wakanda, and then Yorkville. Yorkville has a young team. They didn't have their all-state runner, Casey Kramer, again. And they were still able to hold off a tough Normal University team, 75 to 81. Normal University had a 28-second split. Fantastic. Yorkville's led by 2 freshmen. Skylar Bollinger ran 17:31 at Detweiler Dark at the end of July. She ran 17:17 today, or Saturday. Woo! And then her teammate Summer Pearson, also a freshman, was 7th place. Normal University 28-second split, led by Sydney Billingsley. I hope that was, yeah, that's Sydney. Jeez. But they look good. They will move up. They were ranked 6th. They will move up into the ratings. Individual race, Katie Adams, 17:03. Just missed running 17 minutes, so great time for her. Bollinger was 2nd in that. In the boys race, Yorkville looks pretty good. 36-second split on 5 with the Hofert twins. Jake and Luke were the 1st and 2nd men this week. They won the meet 88 to 142 over Normal University. They look good. Yorkville looks really good. They go out after it, and I don't know if I can move them past Jones or Belvedere North, but they're a team that should be considered with those 2 teams. It's that solid. Normal was 2nd. Canelan ran a great race. They were 3rd with 181 points. Burlington, Iowa was 4th. Glenbard South was 5th. They're a mystery team right now. John Wall did not run, as far as I know. Joe Singleton got 2nd in the race. Individual winner in that race was Riley McInerney of Charleston. 14:53, won the race by 13 seconds over Singleton. So great job by Riley there. He's going to be one of those favorites that's going to be going after that Belvedere North duo, and Jameson Dale and Luke O'Connor from Jones. So it's going to be interesting. But McInerney is legitimate, and he should be up there. The 1A race at Peoria. Wow, I'm going 20 minutes here, folks. Sorry. 1A girls, St. Teresa looked great. Five runners in the first 30, seven runners in the first 35. Three in the top 10, led by Rachel Devereaux getting second place, and Megan Bergner and Ivy Hanley were right behind. 55 points. Monticello 89. Rochester 119. Megan McNicholas, freshman, 18:11 on that course for a freshman is pretty good. With most of the top runners in the state in that race, she's the favorite in that. In the boys 1A race, what can I say? Winnebago, bravo, hats off to you guys. Ranked 19th preseason in the state, moved up a little bit. They win the meet. Nice pack, 5 runners in the first 40, 42-second split. They win 143 over number 3 Rock Island Alleman, 155. I think the one, and you have, let me see, Monticello was third with 194. I think Mount Zion was fourth. It's going to come down to anybody can win this state meet in November. St. Thomas More from Champaign was not in this meet. How would they fare against them? It's going to be interesting to see. We got a lot of time to tell on this. Individually, Grant Nykaza, what can I say? He's running with a chip on his shoulder. He wants this cross-country title badly, and he showed it. 19-second win over Jake Brown of Mount Zion, 14:41 to 15 minutes. Great time by him. Okay, Wakanda Invitational. Number 1 and number 3 teams in the 2A and girls. In girls 2A went after it. Crystal Lake Central beat Canelan 86 to 111. Sammy Staples, defending 2A individual champ, ran her first race, won it in 18:08, 3 seconds ahead of Victoria Clinton of Canelan. So I imagine it came down to a kick. I wasn't there, haven't seen many reports on that, but a great race by Sammy. And like I said, Crystal Lake Central 86 points. Boys race, Crystal Lake Central won easily over Oak Park 98 to 136 without the number 1 runner, Alex Baker, who was taking his ACT test. So Crystal Lake Central, it's going to be hard to move teams up and down in 2A because, like girls 3A, there are so many solid teams. So it's one of those things that, if 1 beats 2 and 2 beats 3 or whatever, it's not going to be a surprise. So hats off to Crystal Lake Central, 98 points without Alex Baker. Good job. Springfield, both Springfield teams, boys Senators and the ladies Senators, ran great races. Springfield's girls team won the meet. Good competition. Normal Community was 92 points. Springfield was 69. Sacred Heart Griffin, the 104. And Mattoon 1-6, and then 5th ranked Chatham Glenwood 113 points. So a solid team race there. Springfield ran with 4 runners who didn't run the prior week, and their pack was tight. They're going to be a tough team. They're a deep team, but they're going to be a tough team. Boys, here again, Springfield didn't run with their number 1 runner, Nathan Hoffman. And Muhammad Seymour looks good again. But Springfield held them off 43 to 49. Chatham Glenwood was third with, I don't have the score here. It's been a long day. Individual race. It was a close race. It came down to a kicker's race where Jonathan Shoup of Muhammad Seymour outkicked Mark Mayton of Chatham Glenwood. These 2 guys will be in the top 10 at state in November, 15:24 to 15:26. Which are great times on this Lincoln Park course. It's a hilly course. It was probably a little bit sloppy because of the weather down there. Great effort. So, there we have it. And I'm going to be 20 minutes. A few things. If you have any questions, you know what, gang? We had a few questions that were sent to me. Let's get some serious running questions to Newman, diestat.il@gmail.com for question of the week. What is my favorite color? If I was a tree, what kind of tree would I be? Come on. Running questions. I'll answer running questions. I won't answer silly questions like that. I don't know. Any case, one more thing. It was announced, this is being recorded on Sunday night. It was announced today that the teachers union, or the teachers are going on strike in Chicago. which hopefully, for the sake of everybody that's involved, this is resolved quickly. Jones is ranked #1 in the state right now. What happens with them? They're supposed to run at Palatine in 2 weeks. Hopefully it's settled before that, and hopefully everybody can stay in shape. I'm sure Jones has got everything organized where they're going to train together and do the best they can with that. So, the website again is IllinoisPrepHarrier.wordpress.com. Later in the week, we'll have the preview for this weekend's meet, and we're going to concentrate basically on the Richard Spring Invitational in Peoria. Oh, one more thing. And I didn't mean to diss you guys downstate. O'Fallon. Wow. O'Fallon ran great on Saturday at the Forest Park Cross Country Festival in St. Louis. They beat most of the top schools in Missouri that were running there. They won the meet, 66 points to 141. So Alex, Patrick, Dorian, Steven, Brennan. I think I got the top 5 there. Great job, guys. You did Illinois proud on Saturday, but we knew that already. So I'm sorry I forgot about that. I wrote it down in my notes, and I'm blind. I wear glasses. I can't see. Okay, so that's it for today. Have a great week. Train hard. Those of you who are racing in dual meets, run great races. And then we'll see you on Friday with the weekend preview show. And that is it. Have a great week. Bye.